Welcome back to Caring Beyond the Pew, the podcast where we explore the sacred calling of supporting others through life's most challenging moments. In today's episode, we will talk about why church leaders must prioritize end-of-life care. I am Sonia Koenig, your host, and today we're going to focus on a crucial question that I want you to think about. Why should pastors, church leaders, and chaplains prioritize end-of-life care? At first glance, it might seem like end-of-life care is a small part of ministry, something you can do occasionally, maybe when somebody dies. But the reality is that this type of care has a profound impact, not just on the dying and their families, but on the entire church community. Let me start with this. As church leaders, we're called to minister to all stages of life: birth, growth, marriage, sickness, and yes, even death. If we neglect the dying and their families, we risk leaving people without spiritual guidance in their most vulnerable moments. This episode will break down why this ministry is vital, both for the individuals you serve and for the long-term health of your church. There are 5 areas we will discuss, and the first one is a sacred responsibility. Let's begin with the foundation. End-of-life care is a sacred responsibility. As leaders, we are entrusted with guiding people through their spiritual journey, and death is an essential part of that journey. The Bible reminds us in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 through 2, there's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die. Ignoring this season means missing a key opportunity to reflect God's love and care. Jesus modeled this in his ministry. He cared for the sick, he comforted the grieving, and he never turned away from those in pain. And we are called to do the same. When you stand by someone's bedside in their final days, you're not just offering comfort, you're embodying the presence of Christ. And number 2, the impact on families and the church community. Let's talk about the ripple effect. Supporting someone at the end of life, it doesn't just impact the individual. It profoundly affects their family and the church as a whole. For families, end-of-life care creates lasting memories of the church's compassion. When a pastor or a church leader walks alongside a family during this time, it strengthens their connection to the church and their faith. For the broader church community, prioritizing this ministry sends a powerful message, a message that no one is forgotten, even in their final moments. It builds trust, and it encourages others to see the church as a place of refuge and care. Number 3, addressing a cultural gap. In many communities, conversations about death, they're avoided or even feared. This creates a gap, a lack of understanding and preparedness for life's natural end. As church leaders, we have a unique opportunity to fill this gap. By prioritizing end-of-life care, we can teach our congregations to approach death with faith, peace, and hope rather than fear. This also opens the door for broader conversations about grief, legacy, and God's promise to eternal life. These are moments where faith becomes real in a way that sermons alone cannot achieve. Number 4, building trust and engagement. End-of-life care also builds trust, and it deepens engagement with your church. When people see that their pastor or their church leaders are willing to be present in the hardest moments, it strengthens their loyalty and trust in the church. This trust often leads to increased engagement, whether it's families remaining active in the church, volunteering, or even legacy giving, where individuals leave a financial gift to the church in their will. Let me give you a practical tip. If you're concerned about time or resources, start small. Even a single visit, a phone call, or a heartfelt note can make a difference. And number 5, God's reflecting love in action. End-of-life care is the most profound way we can reflect God's love. In John 13:34-35, Jesus says, "A new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." There's no better way to show this love than by being present for someone in their final days, caring for them without expectation, simply because they are a child of God. Today, we've explored why church leaders must prioritize end-of-life care. It's not just an optional part of ministry, it's a sacred calling that reflects God's love. It builds trust and it strengthens the entire church community. If you're feeling inspired to take the next step in the end-of-life care ministry, start by reflecting on the needs in your own congregation. Are there families or individuals facing end-of-life challenges who could use your support? Think about it. In our next episode, we'll take a closer look at the common mistakes pastors make when supporting the dying and how to avoid them. You don't want to miss this. Thank you for tuning into Caring Beyond the Pew. If you found this episode helpful, share it with your team or your community. And let's continue building ministries that reflect Christ's love. Until next time, take care and remember, your ministry matters, especially in life's most challenging seasons.